The history books often tell us that the march of military progress came from Europe, from gunpowder, cannon, and the industrialization of firepower. That narrative leaves out a profound truth. The single greatest military revolution on the North American continent was engineered not by European generals, but by indigenous societies. It was a revolution of strategy over brute force, stealth over massed formations, and intelligence over superior numbers. These weren't isolated frontier techniques. They were a complete system of survival, logistics, and combat that challenged and ultimately redefined the very concept of military power. Over the next few minutes, we're going to look at 9 critical inventions, ranging from specialized weaponry to sophisticated doctrines that became the fundamental blueprint for modern unconventional warfare. These were the keys that unlocked the American wilderness and forever changed how conflict was waged, not just in the Old West, but across the entire globe. Part 1. The New Calculus of Frontier Conflict. When European armies arrived, their standard operating procedure was the pitched battle. They sought a decisive face-to-face confrontation where superior numbers and linear formations would simply grind down the enemy. But this strategy hit a wall in North America for one key reason. Indigenous societies had far smaller populations. For them, the cultural cost of a high-casualty attrition war was simply unacceptable. This demographic truth wasn't a weakness. It was an incredibly powerful engine for innovation. It demanded military strategies that prioritized precision, surprise, and efficiency. The goal wasn't a costly battlefield victory, but maximizing captured resources and minimizing internal losses. This necessity led directly to the first and most enduring invention on our list. Innovation 1. Asymmetrical warfare doctrine, the cutting-off way. The core doctrinal invention refined by the Eastern Woodlands peoples was a system of low-casualty operations that historians have named the cutting-off way of war, or COWW. The French, forced to adapt, called it La Petite Guerre, the Little War. This doctrine was the antithesis of European tradition, rejecting large-scale engagements for a constant stream of raids and ambushes. War parties, often small, would target isolated individuals or small groups, like anyone caught hunting, gathering water, or moving between settlements. The moment surprise was lost. They would immediately break contact and flee, avoiding any costly siege or sustained fight. European military men initially dismissed this approach as savage, yet for survival in the wilderness, they were quickly compelled to adopt it. New France colonists learned La Petite Guerre directly from their indigenous neighbors. This transfer of expertise was formally enshrined by figures like Colonel Benjamin Church of the Plymouth colony, and later by Robert Rogers, who codified these indigenous methods into his famous Rules of Ranging. These rules established the specialized light infantry forces that are the ideological and practical precursor to modern guerrilla warfare and special operations. The enduring invention here wasn't a weapon, but the flexible asymmetrical doctrine itself. Innovation 2. Concealment and Disruptive Pattern Camouflage. Long before the French coined the term camouflage during World War I, Native American warriors had already mastered the art of disappearance. This wasn't just hiding, it was the active manipulation of appearance to deceive the eye and break up the human silhouette. Warriors expertly used mud, natural vegetation, and multicolored paint, often called war paint, to blend seamlessly with their surroundings. This stealth was essential, acting as a non-kinetic form of personalized armor that guaranteed the survival necessary for the asymmetrical strategy to function. The scientific genius of this practice was affirmed much later by naturalist Abbot Henderson Thayer, a foundational theorist of military camouflage. In 1918, he argued that the multicolored battle dress of Native Americans provided measurably better concealment than the single continuous color khaki uniforms adopted by World War I foot soldiers. Thayer's work helped formalize two key concepts derived from indigenous design: countershading and disruptive coloration. Today, the principles of disruptive patterns and crypsis are standardized and digitized into the advanced camouflage uniforms of every modern military force. Innovation 3. Birchbark canoes. In North America, the birchbark canoe was a masterpiece of environmental engineering. The Great Lakes and Eastern Woodlands tribes perfected a vessel characterized by its extremely light weight, speed, and high carrying capacity. It was exceptionally efficient for traversing the continent's complex network of lakes and rivers. The canoe became, quite literally, the engine that drove military and financial power for French, British, and American empires for generations. Following the French and Indian War, both the British Army and fur traders were forced to adopt this native technology to access and control the interior. The operational capacity, the resupply calculations, and the strategic geography of the interior were all fundamentally dictated by the unique characteristics of this remarkable craft. Even today, the necessity of specialized lightweight logistics units capable of traversing demanding inland waterways is an institutional legacy of the birchbark canoe. Innovation 4. Snowshoes, unlocking winter warfare. For conventional European armies, deep winter traditionally offered a defensive respite, immobilizing massed forces and bringing the campaign season to a predictable end. The traditional webbed snowshoe, perfected by northeastern tribes, destroyed this predictable barrier. By using a hardwood frame and rawhide latticework, snowshoes spread the user's weight over a large area, allowing travel on top of the snow. This innovation allowed indigenous warriors to conduct continuous, asymmetric pressure and surprise winter raids, forcing military leaders to adapt to 365-day campaigning. This invention was quickly institutionalized by Robert Rogers, whose Rangers conducted famous winter raids. This military necessity was cemented during World War II with the U.S. Army's 10th Mountain Division, formalizing the doctrine for Arctic, winter, and mountain warfare globally. Appreciate what we're uncovering? Please be sure to like the video, subscribe for more, hit that notification bell, and share your opinion in the comments. Part 2. Applied Engineering and Intelligence. Innovation 5. The Composite and Sinew-Backed Bow. While the bow existed globally, Plains tribes developed an exceptionally sophisticated version tailored for mounted combat and mobility. The key material invention was the sinew-backed bow. This construction technique involved layering shredded animal tendon, or sinew, and glue onto the wooden bow structure. This composite approach dramatically increased the bow's resilience and power, allowing for shorter, more manageable designs suitable for use on horseback. Crucially, the indigenous bow provided a tactical advantage that delayed the absolute dominance of European firearms. Historical accounts noted that an experienced warrior could discharge a dozen arrows while a man was loading a gun. This high rate of fire temporarily neutralized the kinetic advantage of the early single-shot muzzle loader. This invention established a lasting principle in small arms design. In close combat, a high rate of fire can often overcome the superior energy of a single-shot opponent. Innovation 6. The Atlatl and Kinetic Augmentation. The Atlatl, or spear thrower, is a deceptively simple yet mechanically complex weapon system. Used by Paleo-Indians over 11,500 years ago, the Atlatl operates on the principle of the lever, dramatically extending the user's effective arm length. This engineering augmentation allowed the user to throw a light spear with significantly greater mechanical power, range, and accuracy than a simple hand-thrown spear. It represented a profound prehistoric revolution in the delivery of kinetic energy, creating a deadly long-range projectile system long before the bow was invented. The Atlatl's importance lies in demonstrating an early and complex indigenous understanding of how a simple tool could be adapted using applied physics to dramatically increase efficiency. Innovation 7. The Tomahawk. The Tomahawk rapidly evolved from a simple stone implement to a highly effective, adaptable striking weapon. Due to the scarcity of iron, many early iron-bladed tomahawks were improvised from scrap metal or old gun barrels. Colonial militias and early American soldiers quickly recognized its efficiency and adopted it widely. It served three critical functions: a close-quarters combat weapon to back up the slow musket, a thrown weapon, and an indispensable utility tool for camping and building fortifications. The Tomahawk forced European military thought to accept a paradigm shift. Personal equipment in frontier warfare had to be multifunctional, optimizing the loadout necessary for extreme mobility. A unique and highly sophisticated adaptation was the pipe Tomahawk, combining a weapon blade with a functional smoking pipe. This ingenious object served a powerful conditional diplomatic message. Peace would be sealed only if the pipe was smoked. Otherwise, the weapon remained ready for war. This object is the origin of the enduring metaphor, burying the hatchet, symbolizing the literal interment of the weapon to signal the end of hostilities. Innovation 8. Advanced Scouting and Battlefield Intelligence. The expertise of Native American warriors in scouting, tracking, terrain analysis, and intelligence gathering was unparalleled in the North American context. This intellectual technology was a crucial strategic asset. General George Washington, in 1778, noted that Indians could be made of excellent use as scouts and light troops. However, this expertise was so valuable, it had to be secured through negotiation, not simply commanded. The strategic importance of this indigenous skill set became undeniable during the post-Civil War Indian frontier wars. When U.S. military intelligence systems proved fundamentally incapable of coping with the highly mobile, asymmetrical warfare practiced by groups like the Apaches, the U.S. Army solution was to institutionalize the indigenous approach. The formal establishment of the U.S. Army Indian Scouts in 1866 was the doctrine of fight fire with fire. This formal institutionalization created a permanent, specialized intelligence and reconnaissance capability in the U.S. military that continues to influence modern special forces doctrines. Innovation 9. Sophisticated earthwork defenses and palisade design. Warfare drove innovation in defensive engineering as much as in offensive weaponry. The Mississippian culture and eastern woodlands groups, particularly the Iroquois, developed exceptionally complex fortification systems. These defenses were built to an astounding scale, featuring towering, multi-layered palisades, some recorded as 30 to 50 feet high, often utilizing interlocking poles the size of ship masts. These defenses were sometimes flanked by bastions, suggesting a highly effective, specialized system of perimeter defense. The immense logistical planning and centralized labor required to construct these massive structures dismisses the stereotype of fragmented, primitive societies. It demonstrates a complex, unified community engineering capability driven by military necessity. Indigenous defenses rapidly evolved in a continuous arms race against internal and external threats, with the move toward quadruple-layer palisades being a direct response to increasing external military pressure, including the introduction of European weaponry. Colonial forces often utilized indigenous sites for their own fortifications, and the scale and complexity of the palisades tested the limits of European defenses, influencing the design of early colonial forts. The enduring legacy. The historical record confirms that indigenous military thought provided solutions to the fundamental problems of warfare in North America that European conventional forces could not solve on their own. These 9 innovations, systems of movement, intelligence, and doctrinal flexibility, were not just adopted, they were institutionalized by European and American militaries, demonstrating their absolute strategic necessity. From the U.S. Army Rangers, whose founding principles are derived from Rogers' adaptation of indigenous methods, to the global emphasis on specialized logistics and intelligence, indigenous practices form the philosophical foundation for modern unconventional warfare strategy. The enduring realization is clear: strategic surprise, stealth, mobility, and precision are superior to massed firepower. This legacy of asymmetrical military ingenuity is the permanent, fundamental change indigenous military thought wrought upon global warfare. Which of these 9 innovations do you think had the single greatest impact on the history of the Old West? And more importantly, do you believe that modern military forces Special Forces, Rangers, and Scouts give enough credit to the Native American origins of their most effective doctrines? Let us know your take in the comments below, like this video, and subscribe to make sure you don't miss any more incredible history. If you like this video, be sure to check out some more history we've covered in the top left corner.